Creepy stories that keep people up at night. According to Reddit. Number 15. I have sleep paralysis nearly every night. It's scary. Really, really scary. One morning I woke with marks on my body. It traumatized me. I'm 25 years old. I sleep with the lights on. And I'm surrounded by stuffed animals. My boyfriend has learned when I'm in the middle of a crisis and has learned how to wake me up at the right time. I suppose there's nothing scarier than not being able to move, especially after you've just woken up. I know a lot of abduction stories, especially those of the paranormal nature, that begin with somebody being aroused from their sleep and not being able to move. Number 14. I was working on a computer on a dresser with a mirror behind it. As I was working, I caught my reflection in my peripheral vision. However, it wasn't doing what I was doing. The second I began to focus on the image of myself, it snapped back. Scientifically, I know how mirrors work, but I also know that I saw something. Have you ever seen something in your peripheral vision, in the corner of your eye, only for it to either disappear or apparently materialize into something else the second that you tried to focus on it? I always like to think that there are things all around us that we can't see. We accept it about microorganisms and other things that we are incapable of seeing with the naked eye. But what if there's things pressed up against where we are? Wonder if we'll get them goggles to see what's up. Number 13. I occasionally hear faint music in my house. It's usually when I'm alone or very early in the morning. I hear it from an air-conditioned vent. Sometimes I'll hear it from somewhere in the kitchen or the laundry room. I cannot figure out where it comes from. I thought it might be a radio that we packed away somewhere, but it would need to be plugged in or have batteries. But the batteries would have died at some point. It's been going on so long now, it really doesn't make any sense. We don't have outlets that high. I'm partially convinced that someone is in the attic, but nothing is missing or damaged, and the dogs aren't acting as though anyone is there. A hello to everybody in the chat. Friendly reminder to those of you who want to stay notified of when these go down that you can join the Discord for notifications. Seraphin Bear says, Kyle, my recent sleep paralysis felt like someone had their foot on my back. And before, it felt like someone was licking my cheek. The scary thing about sleep paralysis is it has this history of being this invisible, unknown entity that is physically perched on top of you. But in recent history, they'll want to make you believe that, of course, it's just your brain manifesting these scenarios, these encounters that, of course, can't be real. But if it is your brain playing tricks on you, who knows? Number 12. About a year ago, I was visiting my parents, and my boss told me that he needed me to work for a shift. So, I woke up at 4 a.m., was rubbing my parents' cat, and then I look up and see a woman wearing flowery pants watching me. So I just stare. And it turns around and walks away. As I'm rubbing my eyes, it disappears. Maybe I was just tired or had one too many cinnamon rolls. But it still makes me wonder. Have you guys seen any people that genuinely weren't there? A typical, quote, hallucination is for people to see people that they know or family members that aren't there. Number 11. Once I did acid during the zombie walk in college. It was around Halloween time, and I had forgotten what was happening until I hit Main Street. That was a surprise, to be sure. The creepiest thing in my life was last August when I was scammed. I got a text from someone claiming to be my neighbor that I hadn't heard from in years. They said that they were in need of money and nobody was helping them. Typical sob story. I knew they were BSing me, but they knew my neighbor and our home addresses. So I tried to pry and lead them on to get more information so that I could submit it to the authorities, but without revealing my information or my intentions. The fact that they knew where we lived is what genuinely disturbed me. They wanted me to meet them somewhere in DC so that I could give them money. I jokingly said I was currently in DC and that we should meet. We set a time to meet up. I called the number, and it said it was a Text Now subscriber, which is an app that, in this case, you can use to spoof or temporarily have a number. I finally asked them why they were using Text Now. I wanted them to come clean. And they said they were just fucking with me. There was a thunderstorm soon after, which knocked out all cell service. And when I got it back, I found out via email that someone in Minnesota had used my debit card to buy over $1,000 worth of things from Kohl's, Best Buy, and an Uber ride. All this happened within the stretch of 4 hours. I'm 90% sure that this was the same person. But I don't know what their angle was, or why they were actually trying to meet up with me. Was it to distract me? Was it 2 separate incidents and I could have been kidnapped? I have no idea. I filed a police report. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are, for whatever reason, picking up the phone for suspicious calls and allowing them to go on longer than they should, you should record them. I know it's crazy. The insinuation that, you should record everyone sounds paranoid. But paranoia is only paranoia until it's not. And it's better to be safe than sorry. As we continue up the list. Number 10. When I went home after meeting my boyfriend, a guy stared at me over the whole way to my hometown. We were in a train, and when we arrived, he also left the train and started following me. Because of this, I walked much faster through a little tunnel, but he was still right behind me. Just seconds later, I finally saw the car of my mother, who was waiting for me in her car, so I jumped in it. After the guy saw this, he began to walk slower and past us. She said that she could see the absolute look of irritation and anger in her eyes. What? Well, she means that she could see the anger in his eyes. Huh. Right. You have to wonder if your parents could tell that someone was probably following you and then seemed extremely irritated when they couldn't catch you because you happened to be there with your vehicle. Would you just let them pass? Or in today's day and age, would you probably, have a few choice words at them, pull out your camera, start taking pictures? I mean, everybody's crazy these days, so you don't want to exactly provoke anybody with any, spontaneous action. Some of these people could be unhinged. They could have a weapon. But I don't know. I don't consider most parents the most rational people. And if they could genuinely see and believe that somebody was following their offspring, I imagine that they'd have something in the way of a reaction to it. Not this lady. Well, he looks irritated that he couldn't get you. Lucky I was here. Number 9. This scares the hell out of me to this day. I used to live in a very small apartment with my grandparents, my uncle, and his girlfriend. One night I was staying in their room to rest up, which was something that I would frequently do at the time. I remember I was laying on the floor while both my uncle and his girlfriend were on the bed beside me. After a few minutes, it eventually turned into us not being able to sleep. So, we were fooling around in the dark. I don't remember exactly what game we were playing, but it consisted of me crawling around on the floor and popping up and scaring them. I can't remember if I scared them or not, but I suddenly had to use the bathroom. So I get up right in front of them and open their bedroom door to walk out. I was in the bathroom for a while. I come back and open the door, and my uncle and aunt were sitting on the bed, both doing a frantic double take. My uncle blurted out, "What the hell?" while my aunt was like, "Weren't you on the floor just now?" I told them I had left a while ago and that I was in the bathroom the entire time. They said that they didn't even see or hear me open the door to leave, which creaked very loudly when I left. I switched the lights on, and they couldn't believe that I was actually not on the floor. After a few minutes, they told me that they could have sworn I was on the floor. They both said they heard someone giggling on the floor, and that they even heard the creaking sounds that it made. Every once in a while, we talk about what happened that night and still haven't come up with an explanation. Someone contributes, "Can I just say fooling around in a bedroom does not usually mean playing innocent games?" I was right there with him, but I wasn't going to interrupt the story because he was making it creepy in another way. You know what I'm talking about? You were fooling around with your uncle and his girlfriend? Weird. That's a advanced relationship right there. Wow. Gross. Creepy in another way. Can I get some bleach? Put it right in my cup. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have them. Yeah, I don't have those emojis. You freaking squares. But you know what? Don't even worry about clicking the join button. It'd be easier for you to donate on that ass. Number 8. I had a golden retriever growing up. It was a super nice dog that was friendly with every single human that it had ever met. Except one. I was starting a full day of school, so I must have been around 6 years old. I was playing in the front yard and a guy was going door to door selling something out of a truck. When he had got done at the next door neighbors, he started walking over from their yard to ours. The golden retriever went into maximum dog fury mode. His hair stood up, his teeth were bared, he was angry and scarily growling. Anyone who knows dogs knows that there's a difference between regular growls and scary growls. She ran to the edge of our grass, stopped, and just snarled at this person, who was maybe 15 to 20 feet away. They yelled at the dog some, walked back to the truck, and drove like 2 houses down and kept going door to door. I grew up with that dog, and I never saw it act remotely like that before or after, including other door-to-door salespeople. Definitely a creepy experience that I randomly think about from time to time. I wonder what that dog knew. I should get a guard dog that can see the aura of the people. The aura of the people. Sorry. That's a gross coyote noise. I apologize, I'm trying to cut back, but they keep roping me back in, They just keep roping me back in. Boom. Boom. As we continue up this list, we're at number 7. A change of pace, but a creepy story nonetheless. I got catfished by an old man on a dating app. I was in a lonely and quite vulnerable place within my life at the time. I was looking for a good time and just wanted to be with someone. I was a bit shaken up for maybe a week after it had occurred, but I eventually got over it and moved on with my life. There was this young, really attractive dude, or so I thought, whose profile I had come across. I was around 20 years old at the time. We spoke, we exchanged pictures, messages. We planned to meet up. He gave me an address, and later in the day, I took Uber to that address. I was standing around for hours. It was really dark, and it was getting late in the night. I had previously knocked on the door of the address, then resorted to standing around near the address to see if I'd get a message or a response. Nothing. I sent him so many messages with no responses, and I was disappointed. But I didn't give him trouble about it. More so disappointed about the wasted Uber money than I was with him, because it wasn't exactly the cheapest ride there and back. The next day, on the dating app that I was using, he sent me some story about something happening with someone in the family. Right. I don't exactly remember it, but thinking back, I can't believe I actually believed him when he told me. I felt so stupid. Oh, you know that you are stupid, and many of you will do anything for what you think is actually a pretty face behind a stupid internet profile. The same day as we were talking, all is forgiven, and we chalk it up to something just being shit, as life sometimes awards us. We plan to meet up again at a much earlier time. I come to the same address. As I'm knocking on the door, I don't get a response, and I look around. But this time, I see an old man sitting in a black car across the street from me. He's just staring at me. He was staring as if I was candy that he just couldn't resist. Candy that he just had to have. He had to have me. I waited around a bit longer. The old man is still there, just staring at me. I get a little uncomfortable and worried. And that's when it hit me. He was the young and really attractive dude that I'd been talking to this entire time. I didn't know what to do upon the realization, but I wasn't going to confront him. I remember being so angry, followed by being sad. I got an Uber to go back, and I blocked him on the app after sending him nasty messages. But he didn't stop there. He followed the Uber that I was in, and I kept a watchful eye for his car. I was so terrified, but was relieved that he ended up losing us on the highway. I never saw him again, but I'll never forget the disgusting and snarky look that he had on his face when he was staring at me, seemingly proud of what he had done. I couldn't think straight for a solid week after that. The wasted money, the emotional trauma, and the pure anger. I learned an important lesson about being safer on dating apps, and teaching myself that sometimes we're just as vulnerable, and we shouldn't get so caught up in that. Well, I mean, if you're meeting for a first encounter with somebody and you're going straight to their house, you're trying to get fucked, you slut. So, good on ya, mate. And I am not shaming anybody who's trying to fuck, because to you, apps are just ways to, I don't know, throw out yourself as a trading card so that somebody can get that card and add it to their collection of people that they've banged. But perhaps you should find a public place to meet up. And if you still want to fuck, that is completely okay. You reserve that right after you go somewhere, or even at the place that you're going. Go to a dive bar or somewhere where, I don't know, that kind of shit is acceptable, but make it a public place with other people, and make it a place of excuse me, of your mutual choosing. Don't let them suggest where you're going, and, both of you need to come to a place, because if they suggest somewhere, they could just take you somewhere where they know everybody, and they can roofie you good, and they can get you in a position where not just one of them can have their way with you, but multiple. And it may not just be a sexual encounter. You could lose your life. You could lose your freedom. Think. And not with your downstairs sexual parts. Think with your upstairs brain. Thank you. I am not feeling well tonight, and my nose is a nightmare. You know what'll make me feel great? Likes and wish lists. Reese, if you are in this stream, please tell me what you want on this tree. I want to make it a nice decorated thing just for you. Seriously, be careful when it comes to these apps. Come on, man. Where we all get horny, but don't be inviting people out to your house, and don't be going to people's house when you don't know them. Some people live their entire lives in the midst of people that they think they know, but they don't know them. And it's because some of these people don't know themselves. Some of these people project a iteration of themselves that they're genuinely not, because they think it's what other people would like. They know, and that's the good variation, that they think it's somebody that other people would like. The scarier iteration is when they know that it's a version of a person that people would like better than themselves. And let's face it, there are social situations that are similar to work, that are similar to hanging with family, where we know that the person that we fake is preferable to who we really are. And I can share personally, my mom and her basic ass has constantly envied the iteration of the person that I give to other people over the person that I genuinely am. implying, oh, I'm more polite with other people and shit like that, when in reality I am 100% fake with some of those people. And I'd sooner die than be fake with mom, regardless of whether or not it's what she wants. And that may be insensitive. Some of you would probably just give an old mama what she wants, even if it is you being fake, but it's the principle of it to me. Consider it me being a man, I guess. It's just a logical thing that doesn't make any sense. Why would I be fake? When in reality, I'm being that way with other people to diminish the time involved in our interaction. Like, when you're at work, you got to jump through them hoops. In social situations, you got to jump through them hoops. And you also need to do it in a way that is low profile, non-suspicious, so that you are not marked by the monsters who are literally sniffing for differences in people. But when you're dealing with people who you know are not giving you the real version of themselves, no matter how long that you've known them, how can you then find a stranger and feel safe with them? Just watch your fucking balls on these damn apps. Because it could have been a lot worse. There are people who just don't get heard from anymore because they were foolish enough to show up at somebody's house with a picture of some hottie scooped off Google. Number 6. I was shopping with my father and got in line to check out when he realized he forgot something and went to grab it. My 2-year-old daughter was looking at the candy when a man got in line behind me and said to my daughter, "Don't wander away from mom, or someone like me will snatch you." He didn't say anyone would snatch them. He didn't say someone might snatch them. He said he might. I grabbed my daughter and put her in the cart, and he just stood there, staring at her. I was about to leave when my father showed up, and this man said, "Oh, you've got a big guy with you." Got out of line and left. I felt for sure that his plan was to try and take her when we got into the parking lot. I think my 6'4" father made him rethink his plan. I still think about this creepy dude. Stripes is calling this dude a groomer. Nice. I like that one. Alright. Yeah. Gabriel Henry says, "I love you, Daddy Kyle. I love you too. Show Daddy some love on that wish list." Oh my God. He said it. Yeah. Jingle bells, MFers. Jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride up this list. Ain't it cray? Number 5. When me and my mom moved to a new house, she had some redecorating to do. One of the things she wanted to change was to get some new curtains for our bathroom. The curtains in there were torn, dirty, brown, and just ugly as fuck. So, she bought some new curtains. Because she was fairly short, she couldn't reach our attic, which is where she wanted to store the old curtains. These curtains were from a rented place, so we couldn't just throw them away. I put the curtains in a box and put them in the attic. The new curtains were placed up. Everything was good. The next day, when I come home from school, the ratty, horrible, dirty old curtains are back up in the bedroom. The new curtains are nowhere to be seen. I asked my mom why she changed the curtains back. She was terrified. Had no idea how it happened. It still bothers me to this day. Bitch, y'all got some serious questions for this entry, because a story like this doesn't just end here. The real question is, if neither of you did it, somebody did it. Is somebody else in this place? Y'all too short to reach the attic. Maybe it's time to get up in that attic and see what the hell's going on. Did you guys try to hang the curtains again? And did it happen again? Did either of you leave, or did both of you leave? Granting the place, time to be penetrated by whoever you were renting it from? Like, get the hell out of here. I mean, it's creepy, but I wouldn't consider it supernatural, and the fact that you're not giving us any follow-up is just kind of, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Imagine if I told you this story and it was a creepy story. Listen, one day I went to the bathroom, and when I was done using the bathroom, I washed my hands. But as I was leaving the bathroom, I realized I only washed the one hand that I used. Should I have washed the other hand? Probably. That's the end of the story, There's a couple of things going on with that story. It's like not very interesting as an anecdote. It's not anecdotally interesting. Probably not worth the words or the breath that would take to communicate that. So, maybe one follow-up question, if you were forcing yourself to try to be nice or kind, is to ask, oh, did you go back and wash the other hand? But it's really irrelevant. You don't really care, The real question is, why did you tell me that, Did that even happen? Or is it just a hypothetical in this silly, when you think about it, I'm pretty sure everybody has probably gone to the bathroom and only washed one hand. Pretty crazy. Probably the other hand got wet while you were washing the hand, so that counts too, right? But if wetting a hand counts, then what if somebody's going to the bathroom, turning on the faucet, and then just swiping their hands through the water and calling that washing it? What constitutes hand washing for most people after using the restroom? Can you imagine you make your hand flat and then just poke the hand in the water, and that's washed? Doesn't get any creepier than that, does it? If you want a story that's even creepier as it pertains to the bathroom variety, think about the fact that some dudes are going to the bathroom and not washing. And if that's not creepy enough already, think about the fact that some people are going to the bathroom and not wiping. And welcome to a Kyle list. Creepy stories that keep people up at night. Don't forget to like the video. Number 4. I was about 12 at the time, and it was around 2 a.m. one day, and I was playing Counter-Strike with some friends. We're in a group call, and I hear a door slam. It was a loud one too, loud enough for me to hear through the headphones. I was freaked and just froze in my chair and took my headphones off. Then I hear footsteps. I was sure someone had broke in, but I was afraid to get out of my room. Everything was silent for a few seconds, and there was no one in our house. The door was locked, as it was before, and it seemed like everything had gone back to normal. So I tell my friends that I'm logging off, and I tried to go to sleep. It took me ages before I could actually fall asleep, though. But eventually, I did. The next morning, I tell my mother about what happened. Her face went white. She told me she dreamed about my dad, and she told me the dream. He came to our house, slammed the door, and woke her up with the sound of the slam. She was so excited to see him, she hugged and kissed him, and they went into my room where they saw me playing video games. My dad told her that I grew up so much and was really happy to see me. He taught me how to play Counter-Strike when I was like 5-ish years old. My dad passed away when I was 6 years old, heart failure, and it's still creeping me out to this day. We can all die of heart failure at any time, and that's pretty messed up when you think about it. You could all die of brain issues at any time. I guess that's what makes it so difficult to not let everybody know how special they are to you by, I don't know, man, taking that money and making it happen. A ninja says there is a trick which people use in Twitch where it feels like someone is knocking, but there is no one. It's only a sound clip. Sometimes you believe there is knocking, but there is no one. Sometimes you believe there is knocking, but there is no one. Number 3. My wife and I went to CreepyCon. Whatever the hell that is, baby. It was in Knoxville this year, and we listened to one of our friends give a panel. On our last day in town, we were meeting up with one of my wife's cousins for brunch. Oh, so spooky. Brunch. The most frightful meal of the day. Viewer discretion is advised, guys. We're parking in the lot across the street when a guy walks up to me. He was trying to tell me to park on some side street because it was free. But my wife was already at the pay machine. Plus, I had already parked and really didn't want to risk a ticket on the word of a stranger. He didn't really care about where we were parking. He just wanted to make some money. He had something that he wanted to sell and pulled a knife out. I stepped back, looked at my wife, who stayed back. Don't worry, man. I'm not going to stab you. Do you want to buy this knife? I told him I didn't really want a knife and that we didn't carry cash. In his defense, he didn't stab me. Perhaps you guys need a demonstration of how good this knife is. Number 2. But there is no one. On a family vacation, when I was a kid renting a beach condo, the unit next door was a regular residence. We met the family. Nice peeper. They were leaving at the end of the week for their own trip, but my daughter had to work one more night shift as a nurse. The dad and the younger kids left, and the mother and the daughter were going to leave the next morning to catch up with them. In the morning, as we were packing up our own stuff to go home, we started to hear sirens out of the road in front of the condos. There were several emergency vehicles outside, and eventually an air evac helicopter landed on the road and took off with a gurney rolled out of the unit next to us. A while later, we got the story. The daughter had come home from her shift and found the mother beaten to death with a hammer or something similar. We hadn't heard or seen anything, even though we shared a wall. How the hell does a person get beat with a hammer silently? Were they already dead? How do you strike blows with a hammer silently? The creepiest part was that the officers found that the killer had accessed the house by the back porch facing the beach. The bedroom me and my brothers were sleeping in was down on the ground floor, which the same porch door leading out to the beach was on. It was only a few feet away from the same door and only separated by waist-high rail. Talking about it later, we weren't even sure that we had locked the door that night. Beaten to death. Well, what an advanced entry. As we continue and end this list, here we are at number 1. When I was 8 or 9, my mom's friend took us to see the puppy that they were going to buy. The owner offered us to walk the parent dogs that were 2 Rottweilers. I still remember their names. They were super friendly and walked off leash with 2 kids of my mom's friend. When we arrived in a grassy area surrounded by trees, a tall guy approached us. He grabbed my shoulder, and the dogs went completely nuts. I remember he had a mirror and tried shining light into the dog's eyes. Play stupid games, homie. The mother dog stayed circling me while I ran to the house, and the other dog chased this guy until he was gone. It was terrifying, but what really stands out to me is that those dogs didn't know me. Yet they protected me and my friends as if their lives depended on it. Yeah, dogs, motherfucker. They're amazing. Dogs. What you mean shining a light in some dog's eyes? What the hell are you doing? Ridiculous. What's creepier than people asking questions of this variety on Reddit? Men of Reddit, what are some mistakes that women make during intercourse? Oh, sweet God, I accidentally clicked the damn award button. Please. It was a joke. It was a joke. The top question, or the top answer, reads, I have an ex that used to keep sleeping with the wrong guy. Rookie mistake, you know? Rookie mistake, guys. That's the biggest mistake you can make during intercourse, I'd imagine. Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Show picture of dog thank. This is a creepy list. So I only show picture of creepy dog. Let's get to it. Wait a minute, these are all really lowly upvoted. Maybe all only has 2 W's. There we go. I'm trying to find a really creepy dog. There he is. What a little cutie. Well, that was the list. It's time for me to try to get my shit together. Wish you all the best, and hope you've had a relatively interesting day. Take it easy, do what you need to do, and live your life. Use the links in the description. Make my day off stream. Thank you to the patrons, thank you to the sponsors. Do join the Discord to get notified when the streams go live. And if that's not your speed, then let me know and I'll make it so I start tweeting when the streams go live. Good luck. Stay out of trouble.